Preacher Season 2, Episode 2, Mumbai Sky Tower. This is a pretty awesome episode, picking up right where the premiere actually ended off. We have the Saint of Killers going towards Jesse. Of course, he tries to stop him, and the Saint of Killers is not affected by Genesis. He pulls out his gun, and probably in perfect fashion to this series, as he shoots the bullet and it's flying towards Jesse's face, a random dude in a truck comes by, and his brain just gets splattered, and then the truck ends up spinning around and crashing into the Saint of Killers and temporarily killing him. So, in perfect fashion, he shoots to kill Jesse, ends up killing himself temporarily, and then all the gun aficionados come out, which is like really mess with Jesse's head for a second. And of course, he sees the Saint of Killers, push off this truck and get up, and is like, crap, he's gonna, he can murder me. Genesis doesn't affect him. He was just hit by a car and crushed. He got up from that. So of course he tells the gun aficionados to stop him. They're shooting him up like it's nothing. He falls down. They have some really funny dialogue in there. They're like, yeah, another conflict solved by guns. And somebody says what can't guns do? Some silly stuff was in there. And then of course he gets up and he kind of just shakes off all the bullets and he just starts blowing people away. And it's pretty insane. I mean, the way they do the effects, whenever he hits somebody and they fly super far, or they just explode if they aren't sent flying, it's just really intense. People just get knocked down and they're just bits are blown off. So it's just pure chaos. Jesse and Cassidy run. They end up finally getting the information about Anvil blowing up, because when Jesse runs back to get his girlfriend, I'm totally drawing a blank on her name for some reason, Tulip, when he goes to get her, she's finally getting the information from, the news, the city just blew up. Everyone we've ever known is now gone. So they're both frozen in place. Cassidy comes in, then he's frozen in place, crap, that sucks. Then of course the TV gets blown up, so they start to hide from the Saint of Killers as he just goes around, once again just blowing people away. Like I mentioned with the premiere, he just doesn't seem like much of a hero. He's there basically to kill the worst person, but he will kill anyone. He doesn't need to kill anybody that's actually innocent. He's invincible. He probably feels pain, I would imagine, but it's hard to say. But it was just interesting. It's man, he just be blowing people away. The part when they're actually hiding next to the vending machine, and he turns and he's about to go that way, but then this random girl comes out, she points a gun at him, and he just blows her away, and it's just boom, and she's dead. And I'm just he just blows everybody away. He even kicks an actual door open, and the dude's you're no, don't shoot, and he just kills them both. And I was there's really no reason for that. That wasn't even defense. He just straight up murdered them. So it was really weird, because he knows who Jesse is now, so it's I know that it's not either of these people, and I would assume in that, at least with those characters specifically, you can tell when someone's being controlled. And once again, it doesn't really matter if they are being controlled, because they can't actually do anything to stop them. But he's just blowing people away left and right. Then this random dude comes in who had his arm blown off. I don't know what the deal was with him. I guess he lost his arm and he's just bleeding. He was out of it. So he wants a root beer. He gets in ginger ale, which apparently is good for blood loss. I don't know if that's a factor. They just put that in there as a funny line. But he starts freaking out, and Jesse's trying to get him to be quiet. And then he actually uses Genesis, and that's when they basically show that's how the Saint of Killers was following them. Every time he would use it, he could sense it. So he whispers be quiet. And the Saint of Killers just turns around, and then he's slowly walking towards it. Of course, they end up escaping. They end up going to the Mumbai Sky Tower, and that's where we actually get to see Fiore and what happened with him. And so they cut back to actually the season finale of the last season, where he's waiting at the same place as the Breaking Bad spot, which I thought was a really awesome reference last season. So he's waiting there as these buses come along, little travel buses, and then eventually he gets one to the Mumbai Sky Tower. So he goes there. He keeps killing himself because he's got nothing, and there's nothing good for him. He just keeps killing himself. He's just going along doing his thing. And then he finds a little bit of purpose after he goes to see the stage singer, the big stage singer. And he grabs the mic, kills himself, and he pops up on the other side of the stage. So of course the singer is kind of put to second tier, because that's nothing compared to the dude who kills himself and comes back to life. So he finds a little bit of purpose, but he ends up losing it over time. It's just even this, it kind of loses its function to him. But I thought that was pretty interesting. So that's kind of his job, and he, pretends that he really cares when people come to see him and stuff. The kid in the wheelchair, he's oh, cool. And he's I can't give away my secret. And then he rubs his head, and he's looking at his hand his hand is dirty. And it's just alright, get him out of here. That was pretty much it. So he's kind of a douchebag to people, but also he's an angel anyway. It's not like he really cared about, mankind. It was very interesting the way they did his story, and of course, we got our trio kind of stuck there because that's when they find out that if Jesse uses Genesis, that's how they'll end up being tracked. So they can't really do it. Cassidy decides, give me I think he said 2 hours and 45 minutes. I'll be able to get them to, call off the Sin of Killers. And we're good to go. We'll figure out what happened with God, and everything will be fine. And technically that works. And then Jesse screws it up all over again when they're actually at the wedding, because he's like, if there comes a time when I feel like it'll get us closer to God, I'm still going to use it. And it's like, well, don't do that. That's really dumb. And it's like, no, I'm still going to do it. And that's kind of what screwed everything up. As soon as he said those 2 lines, I was like, yeah, he's definitely not about to call him off anymore, because he was going to. And it's like, yeah, well, I thought maybe he'd be a bit smarter about it, but no, he's just going to use it whenever he wants to. So, he doesn't end up calling it off. But Fiore does end up getting himself killed, or asking the Saint of Killers to get rid of him, because he feels that's the only way to find peace. And they do it in, I think, the perfect way for this show. Even in the first season, you can tell the world within this series, and just the comic book, it's really different. It's not like this world. You see weird stuff that happens and it fits for that world, the gun aficionado stuff is just that kind of fits. The ending to this episode with Fiore being killed also fits really well, where he dies and people start to boo. And it's that just means that he's dead. That means he's actually dead. And they're just booing, and people get up and start leaving and stuff. And I was like, that's just so weird. It's that's just how it is. This version of the world is so insanely dark. It's beyond just oh, it's a crazy magic trick and stuff. It's he dies, and then nothing happens. And no one goes to, oh crap, maybe this trick didn't work right or anything, maybe he's actually dead. It just instantly goes to boos, and that's pretty much it, and he's just there dead. And it's just yep, that's such a weird reaction to have. Instead of someone being oh, maybe this trick failed and he actually died, he's just dead, and then people start booing. I was yeah, it's just such a weird reaction, but it fits so well for this type of world. But it was a really great episode. We dive a bit into what was going on with Tulip beforehand, because, with her introduction, she's dealing with some random people, fighting in her car, and then she uses, army men inside of a homemade rocket launcher, blows up a helicopter, all sorts of crazy stuff. And in this episode, she ends up running into one of her old acquaintances who works for the guy that she used to work for. So she ends up having to fight him, kills him. I'm assuming Cassidy either chopped him up or ate him. And now it's alright, well, with the little hint that Jesse got, he decides, we're going to follow the music. If God likes jazz, what better place to go than New Orleans? And it happens at the same time, where he says that, and so does Tulip. It's crap, that's where her contact is, that was, that really wants to get a hold of her. So I'm excited for how that's going to play out in the next episode. We also seem to be getting the introduction to this group of the people all dressed all in white suits. So I'm excited to see that in the next episode as well. But I thought this was a really good one. They kind of, how the first episode was a road trip, this was the destination, pretty much. They outside of, the opening, of course, they're in the inn. They stay at the hotel for the entire episode. Once they leave there, they get to the hotel, and that's where they are the whole time. We get Fiore, we get his interaction with Cassidy and stuff. Not only the montage of him killing himself, but then the two of them just screwing around, reading Archie comics, which I thought was probably my favorite moment of that whole montage. They just stop and they're talking about Archie comics. But it was just really awesome. And then, of course, they kill him off at the end, which really surprised me. I didn't think that was going to happen, but that was his way of finding peace, was just to find out what happens when angels die. Because they talk about it, but there's no real answer. So I thought that was pretty cool. And he didn't even know that God was gone. He doesn't know where he is. So, of course, with the music clue, they decide to go to New Orleans, and we just have to wait and see what happens there. But this is definitely an awesome episode. I'm excited to see where we go for episode 3, introducing whoever this new group is, which even in the promo, they kind of tease that maybe they know that God isn't in heaven as well, so that should be interesting. They also talk about, I can't think of his real name, but Arseface again. So they talk about the fact that he really is in hell, so I think we will actually get to see him in the next episode, which should be pretty cool. And he seems to be, in the promos with Hitler and, kind of all the typical bad people, so I'm sure we'll get to see that. But I'm really excited for the next episode. It seems like this will be, the next episode will be like the big expansion for the season where they introduce like the new set of villains alongside the Saint of Killers, and we also get to see what's going on with Hell. So I'm actually super excited to see how that's going to play out in the next episode. But of course, we'd love to know what you guys thought about this one, so please comment below. Let me know your favorite parts, your least favorite parts about it. And I definitely want to know how you guys think things are going to play out with Tulip going to New Orleans and this whole interaction with whatever organization she's dealing with. I don't know how big of a part they're going to play, but I feel like the organization, the people in white, I feel like they'll play a much bigger part than whoever like the random gangster is that's going after Tulip. But we'll love to know how you guys think that will impact the story for the next couple of episodes. I feel like they might be in New Orleans for a little while, maybe not, too long, but I don't think it'll just be the next episode. I feel like it would at least be the next 2, maybe the next 3 episodes will be in New Orleans, but I don't think they'll be there the whole season, personally speaking. But I also don't think it'll just be like 1 episode and then they're out of there. So we'll love to know how you guys think things are going to play out with Tulip and her acquaintances from the past. And like I said, I want to know what you guys thought about this episode in general. So please comment below, let me know, and thanks for watching.